Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel, where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here. And we're returning to a series that I've reviewed here on the channel, but if you've been watching me for quite a while, you know exactly how close this game series is to me. Of course, I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, and more specifically, we're talking about the third entry in the SEGA Genesis saga, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I've said for years that I'm a big fan of the Sonic games for the SEGA Genesis. Many would agree with me that this was the apex of popularity for the series. Things kinda went downhill from there. And no, Sonic Adventure wasn't as good as you remember. We'll get to that someday. But while the original Sonic the Hedgehog was my first video game that I ever played, this was the one that solidified my views on the entire series. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is the third entry of the SEGA Genesis saga, released in 1994. The game started development shortly after the release of Sonic 2 in 1993. It was originally planned to be an isometric style game with 3D style graphics. However, things got changed up in development and Sonic 3 became a traditional 2D platformer. Funny enough, another Sonic game would go on to have the fully isometric experience a few years later. That game was Sonic 3D Blast. Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 takes place a short time after the previous game. When Dr. Robotnik and his Death Egg Station were defeated by Sonic and Tails, he crash-landed on the planet in a place called Angel Island. While recovering, Robotnik meets Knuckles the Echidna, a guardian of the island's Master Emerald and the last member of an ancient Echidna civilization that once lived there. With a little savvy, Dr. Robotnik tricks Knuckles into thinking that Sonic and Tails are coming to steal the Master Emerald. This distracts Knuckles with his old adversary while he repairs the Death Egg. Meanwhile, Sonic and Tails head towards Angel Island after seeing the Death Egg crash back into the planet, fearing that Dr. Robotnik will try to recover and continue scheming again. As Sonic transforms into Super Sonic and speeds ahead into the island, he's ambushed by Knuckles and drops all the Chaos Emeralds. After taunting and stealing all the emeralds, Knuckles speeds off deep into the island, with Sonic and Tails in pursuit. Things are bigger and crazier in this entry of the saga, with a lot of first appearances that eventually become mainstays in future Sonic games. But the important note here is that Sonic 3 is a solid package with a lot of interesting things going for it. So let me get this out of the way. I totally understand that everybody else that has talked about Sonic 3 always talk about it with Sonic and Knuckles. In reality, the two games are supposed to be one cohesive experience. However, for the sake of this review, I just want to focus on Sonic 3 rather than bring up Sonic and Knuckles. The main reason being is because when I got this game back in the 90s, I got it solely just as Sonic 3. I didn't get Sonic and Knuckles till much later, and I feel like a lot of other people, if you grew up within that era, probably experienced it the same way. Now here's the other thing too, I don't understand everybody's criticisms about Sonic 3 with its visuals. I see so many Sonic purists and fans of the series that are always complaining about how Sonic 2 had better visuals, better graphics and sprites than in Sonic 3, and I simply don't agree. The visuals of this game to me look fantastic. I really love all the different layers of the backgrounds, a lot of the different stuff that changes depending on which act you're in within a stage, as well as also the transitions that occur when you're going from Act 1 to Act 2 in every single stage. I think that's something that is awesome, it's the first for the series, and something that you see replicated in future games. However, there is one other aspect of Sonic 3 that I think needs its whole separate section to discuss. The music. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Sonic 3 has the absolute best soundtrack of the entire franchise. Seriously, the music in this game is so darn good, and for very big reasons. I can name off multiple tracks from different stages that are absolute bangers and ooze personality. Whether you're running around the burning Angel Island, exploring the depths of Hydra City Zone Act 2, or snowboarding at the start of Ice Cap Zone, you're listening to some amazing video game music in here. So it's common knowledge now at this point that world-renowned pop star Michael Jackson was involved with the soundtrack. The story goes that Michael Jackson was hired by SEGA to compose music for the game, since he was such a big fan of Sonic and he had worked with SEGA previously on the game Moonwalker. Unfortunately, this was also around the time where bad things were happening in the news for Jackson, and SEGA decided to part ways with him. But the music that Michael had worked on remained inside the game. The details get hazy afterwards, but the truth was that SEGA panicked when the bad news came out, so they kept Michael's involvement with the game a secret. Here's what some of you might not know, however. The The 1997 Windows port of Sonic 3 has alternate music that replaced some of the tracks that Michael Jackson had worked on. But they were also found in the prototype of Sonic 3 when it was discovered in 2019, meaning that the original intended music for Sonic 3 was replaced by Michael Jackson's music when the game finally came out in 1993. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. The music in here is awesome, and I think that the music that we got in the original release is better than the prototype music or the music we got in the 97 re-release. It's just those tracks that Michael Jackson worked on, they just sound so good, man. And here's the thing too, I think at the same time, that music that Michael had worked on is also the main reason why we don't see Sonic 3 and even Sonic and Knuckles in some instances not included in some of the Genesis collections or the Sonic game compilations that came years afterwards. It's a licensing thing, and I know it's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, but it is a shame to see that happen, and this being one of the reasons, especially for an aspect of the game that's just awesome. I feel like it's aged very well and it still holds up even today. Either way though, I could go on all day talking about the music and the visuals and all this other stuff, but we want to talk about gameplay because there's some great stuff in here. There's some big things that we have to touch on because a lot of this stuff is really a first for the series. By now, if you've played any Sonic games on the Genesis, or have been watching all of my Sonic reviews, you know what to expect here. Jumping around, speeding through the stages at high speeds, collecting Chaos Emeralds, you know, the works for a good Sonic game. But Sonic 3 adds in some new elements that its predecessors never did. And no, I'm not just talking about new characters like Knuckles, that's just one thing. And for the record, you don't even play as Knuckles in the main game here. What I'm talking about are the new items you can find and the abilities like the Insta-Shield for Sonic in the air. Tails could also fly and help carry Sonic around this time, which is helpful for reaching new heights and taking new pathways to the end of each stage. There are item monitors you could break to find shields with different abilities, including a flame shield, electric shield, and a bubble shield. Each of these have unique abilities and perks, allowing you to move around differently, while also avoid getting hit and losing all of your rings. While Sonic and Tails can move fast, the stages you play through are wildly different compared to the first two Genesis games. You still have multi-leveled stages that offer different paths, but there's a ton of secrets and hidden areas to discover. Sonic games have always had this element of slowing down and exploring the area around you, but I feel like Sonic 3 is the game that benefits from it the most. You'll miss out on extra rings, items, and bonus stages if you decide to blast through a stage quickly. I know it's a Sonic game and you're kinda supposed to do that, but I do enjoy finding things that I didn't know were around me before. If there's one thing that I think is a bit lame about Sonic 3, it would be the boss fights. Dr. Robotnik is a goofy villain with machines that can be easily trashed by Sonic and Tails. Yes, there are a few boss fights that could catch you by surprise, but the majority of them are pushovers if you know when and where to jump at them. But I'll admit, the mini-boss fights against Robotnik's machines are a nice touch to the experience, despite them being super easy to defeat. But credit where credit is due. The presentation of each Dr. Robotnik fight is so much better than the previous games. They feel almost cinematic in their lead up and when you're actually fighting them. It's extra details like that I really love to see. So my only other nitpick that I have about the gameplay in Sonic 3 has to be the fact that you don't have a boss encounter with Knuckles in this game. Of course, I do know that you do get to fight Knuckles in Sonic and Knuckles, but since we're not really talking about that game, we're only looking at this one, I do wish that there was at least one encounter to kind of build up Knuckles a little bit more, because you're always constantly running into him, you're always constantly chasing him all the way up to the final stage, but you don't really fight him, and that doesn't really come to play until Sonic and Knuckles, but I still feel like there should have been at least one encounter where it was like that, where maybe you fight Knuckles for a bit, and then he just runs away again, and you're still chasing him. At least build it up a little bit better in that instance. Of course, we have to talk about the save data feature, which is a first for the series, and I think a welcome addition to this, because we didn't get that in Sonic and Knuckles. Granted, again, this is part of the same experience, but in other Sonic games that came afterwards, especially the 3D Sonic games, we always had a save feature afterwards. This was a thing that I know really started with the Mario series and also Donkey Kong, I believe before this game came out. However, it's still something that I feel like is an awesome addition. If other games like Sonic 2 and even Sonic 1 had something like this, I feel like they would have been far better received than what they already were. I mean, those were great games in their own rights, but something like this, especially for people that have to stop playing for whatever reason going on in their lives, a save data feature where you could pick up afterwards is such a welcome addition. Now, beyond that, as far as single player content is concerned, there's not really much else to say about Sonic 3's gameplay. It's very similar to the previous games, so if you know 2D Sonic, you know what to expect here. However, there is one other thing we should touch on. Remember that isometric visual style that I had mentioned earlier that was originally planned for the game? Well, that's what became the bonus stages in Sonic 3. To get all of the Chaos Emeralds, you need to complete these hidden stages that are accessible when you enter the secret giant rings. Unlike previous games, you have a lot of opportunities to get the Chaos Emeralds, so long as you could find the big rings hidden within each stage. The bonus stages themselves could be tough if you can't handle running at super high speeds. You need to gather these blue orbs and avoid the red ones when you roam around, which reveals the Chaos Emerald if you find them all. The longer you take to find them, the faster Sonic and Tails will run. If you get easily nauseous with the speed and constant turning, you may not enjoy these levels. I've had to play these bonus stages multiple times over the years, so it doesn't really bother me. I've gotten super good at them. There's a total of 7 bonus stages to complete in order to gather all of the Chaos Emeralds. Once you have them all, it's definitely time. You get to transform into Super Sonic for the rest of the game. So let's be real here. Super Sonic totally breaks the balance of the game in many ways. You not only run faster, but can jump higher and are pretty much invincible to any enemies and bosses. You have to gather 50 rings and they drain over time in order to transform into Super Sonic, but even then, you're pretty much a Deus Ex Machina for the rest of the stage. Unless you linger around and don't gather any rings, you're totally fine. The crazy thing is that you can get all the Chaos Emeralds and become Super Sonic by the second or third stage. This is easily done if you know where to find all the big rings. I don't mind this at all because not everybody will be able to do this so early, and there's plenty of opportunities to gather the emeralds later in the game. One other perk to finding all the emeralds though is that you get the true ending after the credits once you defeat the final boss, which shows Sonic and Tails together. If you don't, however, you get a different screen showing Dr. Robotnik and Knuckles taunting you with all the emeralds that you missed. It's a nice little touch that accents the ending, even though it's not too crazy of a completion reward. I've been telling everybody for years that I find that the bonus stages in this game are so much better than the ones in Sonic 1 and 2. To me anyway, those bonus stages I felt were a little bit unfair. For whatever reason, I just find these bonus stages to be a lot more easier to play and manage compared to those bonus stages. Granted, I say that with the caveat of understanding these won't be for everybody. So there's one more thing we do have to talk about that is unique and specific to Sonic 3. Something we never really saw in any of the other Genesis games either before or afterwards. The multiplayer. I'll briefly touch on this because there's really not a whole lot to say. Sonic 3 has a multiplayer versus mode that lets you race against a second player. This is the only spot you could play as Knuckles and race against Sonic and Tails. The catch is that Knuckles doesn't have any other extra abilities he would get in the sequel to this game, so he controls exactly like Sonic. The same thing goes for Tails, since you can't really fly with him in this mode. There's only a few race options and stages in here, which include Grand Prix, Single Race, and Time Attack. I will say though, they each get their own music and it sounds amazing. My favorite has to be the Desert Palette stage. The music sounds awesome alongside the rest of the great music within this game. Besides that, there's really not much else here to do. Versus mode is a neat addition, but nothing really crazy to harp on about. If I'm being honest, the multiplayer is a nice touch, but I really wouldn't be mad if it just didn't exist in this game. There's just not much really you get out of it, other than maybe playing with a second player, and of course, if you are playing the main game, you could always plug in a second controller to control Tails if you're using Sonic and Tails together. But if we're just talking about the competition versus mode, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the stages are cool, you get all that unique stuff with the music and the visuals, but if it wasn't here, I really wouldn't be mad about that. I don't feel like you're really missing out on anything if you never engage with this. If I'm being nitpicky about the multiplayer mode itself, I do wish that maybe the stages were a tiny bit bigger, at least, elongated a little bit more so you could spend more time playing them in the races. But beyond that, I don't even feel like I can really pick at any other specific things other than maybe the abilities for Tails and Knuckles, but then that would leave Sonic at a disadvantage. It just, again, it feels like it goes down this rabbit hole of what ifs, and there's really no place for that here. So the multiplayer is okay, but you don't really need to care about it too much. Alright, I know I've gone on for a while now, so let's get to the real question. Can I recommend that you play Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the SEGA Genesis? Yes. With absolute certainty, I could say that you should definitely play this game. This is my favorite entry of the entire saga for many different reasons. I know a lot of people tend to bundle this game with Sonic and Knuckles because they're technically part of the same experience, but I feel that you could look at Sonic 3 on its own and still have a great time. The music and visuals are fantastic, the gameplay is solid, and the little extras are a nice touch. Others can say whatever they want about the Sonic games, but I feel that Sonic 3 was the epitome of the entire Genesis saga, and in my opinion, it's one of the best games of the entire franchise. And there you go, everyone. Those are my thoughts about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the SEGA Genesis. This is my original copy I got back in the 90s, way back when. I keep saying it, I keep repeating it, but it is so true. This is my favorite Sonic game out of the entire franchise, especially out of the entire Genesis saga. This to me is the best Sonic game, period. It's just so much fun. It's such a great package. The gameplay is good, don't get me wrong, but really it's the presentation with the visuals, the music, everything working together. This just comes together in such a nice, awesome experience. And granted, I understand, again, Sonic and Knuckles is technically part of this, and they're technically Sonic 3 and Knuckles is really the full game experience. However, just looking at this game alone, I feel like you could have a great time, and it's something that the way I experienced it back then, and hopefully a lot of you get to experience it in the similar way that I did when I was younger. But if you want to see the best that Sonic the Hedgehog has to offer, especially from the older games, this is the one you should definitely play. Of course, like any other game that I review on this channel, that's just my opinion about Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Let me know your own thoughts about this game down below in the comment section. Tell me, are you a big Sonic fan? Do you love Sonic the Hedgehog 3? What is your favorite personal Sonic game that you love out of the entire franchise? What are some games that you feel like are the third entry of a series that really did some great stuff? I know a lot of people will probably bring up Devil May Cry 3 as one of them, or Castlevania 3. There's a whole bunch of other ones that are out there, but talk to me about that stuff down below in the comment section. Hey, thanks for watching this video review, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed all the gaming talk. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon too to show some love to the channel. I post new video reviews every week for you to watch. Don't forget to join my Discord server too via the link down below to be part of the community we have there. There's lots of great people who love gaming just like you. And join my Patreon page too. For just $1, you get early access to brand new videos and tons of exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Hope to see you around. Peace out and stay epic, everyone.